Hello everyone, welcome to Come Sit at My Table. We're Tom and Melissa and we appreciate that you're here for our video today. We are having a fish fry tonight. We absolutely love fish fries. And one thing that we always enjoy with a fish fry is coleslaw. You really can't have a fish fry without coleslaw, can you? So we are making coleslaw to go with our fish fry tonight, but we're not just making regular coleslaw. We're making something a little different, and it's called Ramen Noodle Coleslaw. Now, I got this recipe in 1995, and there's a little bit of a backstory to this recipe. In the fall of 1994, I had a student in my classroom named Juanita. Now, several years prior to me having Juanita, Melissa had her brother. Do you remember his name?
Joey.
Joey. That's right, yeah, Juanita and Joey. Joey had been in Melissa's room, and Melissa absolutely loved Joey, and I loved Juanita. She was such a good girl. But they lived at a children's home that was in our county, and this children's home was in our school district. And so in the spring of 1995, kind of near the end of the school year, the directors of the children's home allowed each of the children to invite one teacher that they wanted to come have dinner with them. And so Juanita invited me to come have dinner with her at the children's home. Sorry. And one of the things they served us was this ramen noodle coleslaw. Now, I'd never had this. I'd never had anything like it. It was very different from regular coleslaw, and I thought it was absolutely fantastic. So before we left, I asked the ladies who were working in the kitchen at the children's home if they would care to share the recipe with me. And they were very happy to do that. I really did appreciate that. Melissa and I have used this recipe. I couldn't even count the number of times that we have used this over the years. It's really simple to put together, has very simple ingredients, but it's very different from regular coleslaw, and it's absolutely delicious. So, I always call this Juanita's coleslaw, but really it's called ramen noodle coleslaw. Let's talk about what we're going to use today to go into this dish to go with our fish fry. We're going to start with coleslaw mix. Now, I'm using angel hair coleslaw because we like it really sliced really thin and tender. If you don't want to buy coleslaw mix already cut up, you can certainly cut up a head of cabbage, a small head of cabbage. You only need 1 pound. I could not find a pound of coleslaw mix, so I had to buy 2 bags. We're going to use all of one and a little over half of the other because they are 10 ounces each. Now, there also is tricolored coleslaw mix. It has the purple cabbage and the carrots and all that in it. If you like that, then you can use that instead. We just don't care for the purple cabbage. We don't care for the taste of it, or I don't know, it seems a little tough. So we always use the angel hair coleslaw mix if we can find that. So that's what we're using today, but you use whatever you like, and if you want to cut up your own head of cabbage, then do that. The next thing we're using is 2 packs of ramen noodles, and you need to make sure they are the chicken flavor. Now, if you've ever used these, you know that inside the pack is just a small foil packet of flavoring mix. It's like a powder, and you do need that, but it goes in the dressing that we're going to make. So when you open the packs of ramen noodles, keep those flavor packets to put in the dressing. Don't pour it into your coleslaw mix, and don't throw it away because you need it. You need that flavor.
But you're not going to cook the ramen noodles, right?
No, absolutely not. I'm glad you said that. The ramen noodles are not cooked at all, ever in this dish. We put them in raw. We're just going to crunch them up and put them in there. The dressing will soften them over time. Now, that's another thing I need to tell you. You can make this and eat it immediately. The ramen noodles will be crunchy. It'll have a crunch to it. And I love it that way. But if you don't want to eat the ramen noodle coleslaw while it's crunchy, You can leave it sit for a couple of hours. Those noodles will absorb that dressing and it will become soft. So there's no crunch to it. Either way is fine. You can eat it while the noodles are still crunchy, or you can wait until they absorb that liquid from the dressing. Either way works. The next thing we're going to use is slivered almonds. And we're going to use about 2 ounces or almost half a cup. Normally, when we're home at our Walmart and Kroger, I can find small packs of slivered almonds that are 2 ounces. And I just tear it open and dump the whole pack in. I could not find 2-ounce packages here. In fact, it was kind of funny. I asked the young man who was working if he could help me find the 2-ounce packs of slivered almonds. And so he got on his little handheld computer and he said, "Would you care if I ask you, what is a slivered almond?" So I had to explain to him what almonds were and what it meant to be slivered. But we could not find 2-ounce packs. So I got a big bag and we're just going to measure out almost half a cup. The next thing we're going to use is 1/4 of a cup of sunflower seeds, or sometimes they're called sunflower kernels. It's the same thing. And you just need 1/4 of a cup. Again, I always use just one of the little small packs because it usually has just a little over 1/4 of a cup. They didn't have them, so I'm going to have to measure out 1/4 of a cup.
I see more ramen noodle coleslaw in our future since we have extra.
Well, you know, sunflower seeds are delicious just to eat. Slivered almonds, not so much for me. Other people probably love them, but sunflower kernels are great. So I eat them by the handful, so that won't last long. And the last thing that goes in our ramen noodle coleslaw is green onions. And you need 3 green onions. Now, I have already taken out 3 green onions. I have cut off the root end, and I have snipped off the end of the green. But we're going to use this entire thing. We're going to use the white part, and we're going to use the green tops. So we will cut those up in just a second. Now, for our dressing, we're going to use those 2 little flavor packets out of our ramen noodles. Remember, we're going to save those. So we're going to use those to mix with 1/2 cup of sugar and 1/2 cup of oil. I'm using canola oil. You use whatever you like. And 1/3 of a cup of white vinegar. If you want to use apple cider vinegar, that works too. And normally if we're home, I do use apple cider vinegar. I go back and forth. Sometimes I use white, sometimes I use apple cider vinegar. I believe when they made it for us at the children's home, they used white vinegar, but I have used both and it's delicious. Okay, that's it. That's everything that goes in it. So let's start putting it together. It's very simple to do. I'm going to move this so Melissa can video. Just going to scoot all that out of the way. So I'm going to start by cutting up.
Oh, I just made a mess. I'm so sorry.
Yikes.
We might need to take a little pause right here.
No, it's okay. I'll scoop out another 1/2 cup. It's no big deal.
I didn't realize that was sitting behind it. My bad.
That's okay. All right. It's spilled sugar. If that's the worst thing that happens to us today, we have made. Okay. I'm going to cut up these onions. Now, you don't want them so small that you can't find them in the coleslaw mix. But you don't want huge chunks of onions in there either. So just, a thin slice. And and I am doing this with serrated edge knife because they just cut so much easier. And I'm just going to, like I said earlier, I'm going to cut the whole thing up, tops and all. When I get up to these tops, I do slice it just a little thinner because you don't want a big chunk of that green top in your coleslaw. So just slice those a little thinner. Okay. Now, I'm just going to throw those in my bowl right here by the spilled sugar. will not let her forget that today. It's not often that I get one on her, but she'll hear about spilled sugar several times today.
Oh my goodness.
Okay, this is a huge bowl.
I know
for this, but you know,
inventory of cookware is very limited here.
You know, that's another thing. I need to say this. When you're in a rental house, you're not at home and you're in somebody else's house. Rental houses at the beach are not equipped for a lot of cooking, and they shouldn't be. Most people who come to the beach stay for 1 week and they don't cook much. You know, it's just not what you do when you're on a 1 week vacation. Most people come to the beach and they want to spend their time out on the beach or, you know, doing whatever. So rental houses are not really equipped to do this kind of cooking, and that's very understandable. But when you're when you're trying to cook and do videos, it's a little unhandy. It's no big deal. I'm going to put about half this second pack in. That might have been a little more than a half. I think I better take a little of that out because I don't want it to be too heavy on coleslaw. Now, if you see any huge pieces in your coleslaw, like this, you might just want to rip those in half. Something like that. Just kind of break those up a little bit. Look at that big piece. You don't have to do that, but I just don't like huge chunks in there. And if you want it really fine, you could just put it through a food processor a little bit and chop it up, but that's not necessary. Look at this huge piece.
Oh yeah, that's a really big one.
Yeah.
I see another one in the front here.
Do you? Okay. You might have to show me where it is.
Right there.
Okay. Yeah. So, you know, just go through and kind of break them up a little bit. If you want to, throw them in a food processor, it's okay. All right. Let me open these ramen noodles that are right here beside the spilled sugar.
Stop it.
Hey, I don't get her very much. Now, here's the little flavor packet that comes in the ramen noodles. So I'm going to lay that over here to make sure we use it. Here's some in there. I'm going to get it out of there. Okay. Now, the ramen noodles are in 2 kind of sheets. And you just need to break those apart. Then we're just going to break these up. I just take my hand and crush them like that. Just see how I did that? Just kind of crush them up. If you need to, after you crush them, if there are any big pieces like that right there, just take your thumb and push on them. Just break them up a little bit. And they don't have to be pulverized. You just want them to kind of be broken up so there's not a huge chunk in there. Okay? And then if you see any big pieces, you can just kind of break those up too. All right. Let's do the second one. And again, we want to take that flavor packet, lay it over to the side, all that out, and just break these up real quick. You know, after a teacher has students and you can't help but get attached to kids. You know, you spend almost a year of their life with them, confined inside 4 walls of a small classroom. But it's hard to keep up with them after that year is over. If you're not a teacher, you may not understand this, but it's really hard to keep up with them, but you cannot help but wonder where they are and if they're okay and what happened to them. And so every time I make this, I always wonder where Juanita is and how she's doing. And it's just one of those things teachers do. All right, I'm going to use almost half a cup of those slivered almonds. Every time we make this, Melissa and I talk about Juanita and Joey. Kind of reminisce. It's just one of those things that connects you to your students. All right, I'm going to use 1/4 of a cup of sunflower seeds, and I'm just going to tell you, I really do like the sunflower seeds in here. They're a little salty. And you can see these are roasted and salted. So don't tell anyone. I'm going to add a little extra. That 1/4 of a cup is what you're supposed to put in. And we've already got our green onions in there. So let's just kind of stir this up a little bit. That's everything that goes in it. That's the whole thing right there. Now I'm going to set that aside while we make our dressing right here beside of the spilled sugar.
I knew that was coming.
So let me scoop out some more sugar. Don't be too rough on me in the comments.
I wonder how many times I'm going to be called that today. People will hear us and go, "Oh, isn't that sweet? He calls his wife sugar." Oh, my.
People will get on to me in the comments for picking on you.
It's all right. I can take it.
Watch me spill the sugar back in. I won't be
No
surprised.
pressure, but
Okay. If I was at home, I would use my canning funnel to do this, but I'm not home. Okay, now I have my sugar in. I'm going to put my flavor packets in here. And I don't want to waste any of that, so I'm going to try to cut as close to the top as I can. There's one. And here's two. Now that chicken flavor packet is going to give the dressing a lot of flavor. So you want to make sure you get that in there. All right, we're using 1/3 of a cup of vinegar. Almost spilled it. That would not have been good because I would have heard about it all day.
I would have laughed a lot. But
I know you would have. I have one more shot here with the oil. I need 1/2 cup of it. Now, I really like mixing this dressing in some kind of a jar with a tight fitting lid because you can just shake it until you get that dissolved really well. You don't have to do that. You can just mix it in a bowl or however you want to mix it. But I really do like putting it in a jar and shaking it. Does this count as cardio?
I don't think so, babe. It's a good try though, but
Try it. Let me just see if I can get all this spilled sugar out of the way.
okay, fine. Here's the sugar, in case anybody's missed it so far.
Okay. So our dressing is mixed well. You want to see it?
Yeah, so it dissolves well.
Yeah. And we're just going to drizzle that over the coleslaw mix. It doesn't look like it's very much for all this coleslaw mix, but I promise it is plenty.
Little goes a long way.
It does. And as it sits, it will become, not more liquidy, but it will become creamier, I guess. All right. Now we're just going to stir that up. Make sure everything's got a little of that dressing on it.
Turned out to be a really good bowl for this.
This is a huge bowl. But you know, it works. It's a beautiful bowl. All right. That looks like everything's pretty well coated. The smell. My goodness. Okay, by the way, this is also a really good salad dressing if you don't put the flavor packets in. If you leave out those ramen noodle flavor packets and just mix the oil, vinegar, and sugar, it's a great salad dressing. Just FYI, in case you want something for your salad. If you're ever out of salad dressing and you want to have a salad, just mix those three things together. Okay, that's it. Now, I'm having a bite. You want the first bite?
That's okay.
Sure?
I'm sure.
It's got sugar on it.
I'd hate to make a mess trying to eat.
I'm sorry. It's just too funny not to do. Okay, here we go. That is absolutely delicious. And it takes me back.
And it's nice that it's good both ways. So tonight when we get ready to, you'll be frying fish, I'll be doing hush puppies and potatoes.
I think we each actually like it different, don't we?
I like it both ways, but I probably like it when it's a little softer more than you do. But,
and I like it when it's crunchy.
Yeah. But it is nice that you can fix it ahead and then tonight when we got other things going on.
And if you don't use it all, it is really good the next day, 2 days later. Now, you know, a week later it may not be. It might get a little soggy. But it's really good for a few days after you've made it. So if you have leftovers, put it in the refrigerator and keep eating on it. It's a great snack. All right. Juanita, Joey, if by some chance you see this video, Mrs. White and I would love to hear from you. Okay. We hope you try this. It's really good. It's not just good with a fish fry. It's good with anything. It's really good with hamburgers and hot dogs if you grill out. This is a perfect side dish to go with those. It's good with anything you would serve coleslaw with. Barbecue, oh my gosh, this is so good with barbecue. So anything you would normally have coleslaw with, this is delicious with. It's good with other things too, anything. So give it a try. It's really good. If you would, we would appreciate you going right below the video and clicking the thumbs up that just says you like the video. Click that share button and share it on your own page. And if you haven't already, click that subscribe button, the little notification bell beside of it, and the word all. That subscribes you to our channel. That just makes sure that you know every time we add a new video. We like to say it gives you a seat at our table. Also, remember that right below the video where you see the title of this, it will say Ramen Noodle Coleslaw. Not Ramen. Ramen Noodle Coleslaw. Ramen is a man. Ramen Noodle Coleslaw. If you click that title, that box will expand. The written recipes there. Melissa puts it in there for every video we do. And our contact information is under the video. Also at the bottom, there's a place for you to leave comments. If you'd like to leave us a comment, we love reading those. All right. Anything else, Melissa?
I don't think so.
All right. Thank you for watching. We do appreciate it. And we want you to remember, you are always welcome to come sit at my table. Have a great day.